Let me start with something that might sound, well, blunt. If you've been losing weight and gaining it back over and over and over again, the problem is not food. And it's not even discipline. And it's definitely not that you don't know what to do. Most of the people I work with are smart, capable, successful people. They know exactly what they should be doing. And yet, the same pattern keeps repeating. Lose weight, feel great, then somehow old habits come back. And the weight slowly creeps back on. If that sounds familiar, stay with me. Because what's actually happening has almost nothing to do with diet. I've been working in the health, fitness, and personal growth industry for more than 30 years. And after seeing thousands of people go through this cycle, one thing has become very clear. People are not struggling because they lack information. We live in a world overflowing with nutrition, training, and personal growth industry advice. Everybody knows vegetables are good. Everybody knows you've got to eat protein. Everybody knows sugar and processed foods are crap. Information is not the issue. The real issue is something most people have never been taught to look at. The belief system that is quietly running their behavior. Let me describe a pattern and let's see if you recognize it. You decide it's time to change. You clean up your eating, you start moving more, you feel super motivated, and you start seeing results. And for a while, everything works. And then life gets busy, stress shows up, your routine slips a little, old habits quietly start creeping back in. You start negotiating with yourself. And before you know it, you're right back where you started. Many people blame willpower, but willpower is not the real issue. This is something deeper. What most people don't realize is that behavior always follows identity, not intention, identity. Identity. Your identity. If your identity still sees you as someone who struggles with weight, food, or even consistency, your brain will eventually pull you back to that familiar pattern, even if you consciously want something different. That's why so many people keep repeating the same cycle. They're trying to change behavior without changing the belief system underneath it. And here's where this gets really interesting. The beliefs that shape how you see yourself were formed very, very early in life, from the time you were born until around age 7. Your brain was absorbing information about who you are and how life works. Those beliefs became your internal operating system, literally like your GPS, and they influence what feels normal. They influence what feels comfortable and what feels familiar and what feels safe. And they influence the patterns you repeat. So when someone tries to change their habits without becoming aware of those deeper beliefs, the old identity eventually pulls them back. And not because they're weak, because the pattern is still running. And this is why diets alone rarely solve the real problem. They focus on food. But the real issue is the pattern. You don't have a weight problem. You have a pattern problem. Weight is simply where the pattern is showing up. Once you start seeing this, something interesting happens. You begin to realize that that same pattern that shows up around food and weight usually shows up in other areas of your life too. Procrastination, self-sabotage, starting something strong, and then pulling back. And these are not random. They're patterns created by belief systems you probably never chose consciously. In the next video, I'm going to show you something most people have never been taught, where those belief systems actually come from, and why they have so much influence over your decisions today. And once you understand that, you'll start seeing your own patterns in a completely different way. And that awareness is the first step to changing them. So